31 years ago, the United States overthrew the secular government of Afghanistan, provoking the Soviet invasion of that country. This was done under the Carter administration and the guidance of one Zbigniew Brzezinski, with the objective of destroying the Soviet Union by bringing them into war with the Muslim world at large. Now, today, we see the United States looking to go to war with Iran. The neocon faction of the United States pushed very close to going to war with Iran back in 2007. But since then, we've seen it drift back onto the sidelines, and the Brzezinski faction come up again and try to overthrow the Iranian government in the Green Revolution. But with the Green Revolution a failure, and other American puppets like the one in Ukraine and also in Kyrgyzstan being removed from power, the neocon faction now is pushing again for a war with Iran, and the Israelis are pushing for it as well with the warmonger-in-chief Netanyahu. But the Russians, back in 2007, had a very, well, you could say they had a strong policy under Putin that the Americans shouldn't attack Iran, basically. But now, what you see from the Russians seems to be indecision. They don't really, on the one hand, they're building the reactor at Bushehr, and on the other hand, they are holding off on delivering these S-300 anti-aircraft missile systems. And also you saw the Russians backing the UN sanctions against Iran as well. Now, someone could look at that and think that, well, the Russians are kind of weak, they don't really know what they're doing. I have a different take on that. I think that the Russians now are looking back on how the Americans drew them into invading Afghanistan, leading to their downfall, and are now thinking that if they draw the United States into a war with Iran, not by drawing them into it in the kind of explicit way we saw in the case of Afghanistan, but by just kind of subtly encouraging them to do it. Like, if you build the reactor, that increases the likelihood of an attack, and if you don't deliver the missiles, that increases the likelihood of to attack as well. So this is actually consistent policy if you think that the Russians want the Americans to attack Iran. Now, what would the consequence of an American attack on Iran be? Well, this is something that I plan to discuss in another video, but I think that it would be a military disaster for the United States, potentially, with US forces encircled in Azerbaijan. I mean, what, they have troops in Azerbaijan. What are you gonna do? You're gonna invade Iran? You'd send them to their deaths. What about in Afghanistan? You've got these troops around here. Their supply lines running through Pakistan. They could get cut off. And even if you win in a conventional or a tactical sense, it'll be a strategic defeat. Here you have a bankrupt power with overstretched military looking to start a major war. And what kind of strategic objective do they want to achieve? Delay Iran's nuclear program? They don't even have a nuclear weapons program. They don't even have one. They have their peaceful medical reactor. They've been operating it for years. There's really nothing going on there. Now, a second consequence of an attack on Iran would be an oil shock. You could see the price of oil go $500 a barrel or more. Meanwhile, there's Russia sitting up in this direction. Their oil pipelines go through here, you know, well out of the way of the battles, of the fighting or any interdiction. So the Russians, I think, are looking at that and say, well, if there's an oil shock, we'll benefit, we'll make bucket loads of cash, and we'll be able to sit back and relax and watch the United States defeat themselves through their own insane policies.